There is an incredible amount of satisfaction that you get when you're sitting on the porch of a home that you've built for you and your family. Not to mention the peace of mind that comes with not having a mortgage payment. And this is how we're doing it. I remember the first time that we saw this place. We were looking for another piece of property and got lost. So we drove up to the very top of a hill and ended up here. And I remember my wife telling me, "This is ours. This is where we're going to build our home." So there is an amazing testimony that goes behind the obstacles we had to overcome financially and circumstantially. And I give God the honor and the glory for that. But that'll come in a video later. There was an existing structure on the land that had been there for about 20 years. It was a shell of a building that was 9 by 16, and structurally it seemed sound. So we thought, let's use it. Let's try to do the whole tiny house deal. So we brought in some electric to use for lights and power, and we began work. We covered the old siding with number 15 felt, and as you can see, I ran it vertically because I was a newbie. This was a whole learn as you go process. Around the doors I used pallet wood. I overlapped it, and it was stained with used motor oil to protect it from the water. And then along the sides we used corrugated tin or aluminum or steel, I'm not sure what it is, for siding. And overall, the outside looked really nice, and we were happy with that. So now it was time to go to work on the inside. Now, although it doesn't show in these pictures, the existing floor had a lot of problems. There were a lot of holes, a lot of exposure to the outside, and it needed to be recovered. So my wife and I went and bought 4x8 sheets of plywood. We ripped them into 6-inch strips, and we started putting down our own hardwood floor. A lot of trial and error went into this, a lot of issues, but it turned out really nice, and it was worth the effort. Now, being a non-professional, so were my tools. As you can see, I'm using a handy Black & Decker palm sander. It took a lot of time to get that done, but eventually it was completed and sanded. Now here's my wife staining the floor, and I can tell you that the end result really turned out nice, and I highly recommend for do-it-yourselfers, if you want to try this, go for it. It's worth it, and I think you'll be really happy with the end result. With the floor being completed, it was time to begin the move and transition from a conventional home into our tiny home. There were 4 of us that were moving into what essentially is 114 square feet. It was my wife, my 2 daughters, and myself. I can tell you that today it was worth the sacrifice, but it certainly was not easy at the time. We have an existing well that brings water to our water tank, but we needed a way to supply water from the water tank to our tiny home. After researching inexpensive ways to do this, we settled on the Harbor Freight water pump and tank combo. I gotta tell you, I love Harbor Freight. I'm like a fat kid in a cake store every time I go in there. And if you're a fat kid like me, you know how awesome cakes are. This is a 3x3 shower base that we purchased from Habitat for Humanity. I think we only paid about $12 for it. I don't remember exactly how long it took. I think it was about 5 to 6 hours for the framing process of the 3x3 shower stall. And that includes running the plumbing and then also building a compartment in the back of the house for the water heater. And you should see that pretty shortly here. There's my dad helping us with the plumbing. Now my dad has been with us, my parents, not just my parents, my wife's parents, my uncle, they've been a great support with helping us, and you need that. You really need that support when you're taking on such a big project like this. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present the kitchen, when only the finest in appliances will do. You'll see in the far corner there the white chest freezer for meat, frozen pizzas, and ice cream. Next to that is the stainless steel refrigerator, which my wife has always asked for. Above the stainless steel refrigerator, you will see the durable plastic white sink. Next to the stainless steel refrigerator, you'll see the dinner table. Atop the dinner table, you will find a pressure cooker oven. And above the pressure cooker oven, you will find the crock pot. And next to those items, the fine china. But above all that, the most important item in this kitchen is the Crawfish King Cooker 100 quart boil pan or pot, which we use often. All kidding aside, I cannot begin to tell you how amazing my wife is, because she made this setup work for us for almost a full year. Tanya, I love you. Thank you. So after my wife refused to cook any longer, construction quickly began on updates to the kitchen, beginning with a brick paneled faux wall, plumbing for actual running water. Sweetheart, no more washing dishes with the water hose outside. Nope. Only the best for you. So we installed a sink. And did I mention countertop space? So my wife and I, we wanted to do something different. And this was a fun project. We wanted to avoid the standard, avoid the conventional, and make something that was completely original and something that was our own. And 3 years later, we're still using that sink. So this is where it all started. Our tiny home. 114 square feet for a family of 4. And we refer to it as the caboose. So my wife and I, we have 4 kids. Our 2 boys are the oldest, and by this time they had already been out of the house and living on their own. But our 2 daughters shared this experience with us. Our youngest, who at the time was between 9 and 10 years old, and then my oldest daughter, who spent her junior and senior years in high school in this space right here that you're looking at. For my youngest daughter, it wasn't that much of a problem. You know, she was young enough to really still enjoy the entire family being together. There wasn't a loss of privacy. So she had a lot of fun. She enjoyed it. Now, for my oldest daughter, it certainly was a hardship. She had no room for her own. She had no privacy. She didn't have her own TV. She didn't have her own computer. I know that this was a hardship, but I never heard her complain. And in fact, her junior year of high school, she won Best Actress in the state of Texas. And for her senior year, she got drum major for the high school. So, to my wife and to my daughters, Patience and Cheyenne, thank you so much for being a champion through this whole thing. I love you. We're not professionals. We don't have commercial grade equipment or hardware or tools, and we certainly didn't have any experience when we went into this. But what we did have was drive and determination, and we have a lot of support and a lot of love from family members that have really encouraged us to keep going. So I want to encourage you. If this is something that you have always dreamed of or thought of, and you want to do it, go for it. And one day you'll be sitting on the porch of the home that you built for your family. If you have any questions or want to know more about our experiences, leave a comment below, and please subscribe to our channel. We have a lot more videos coming up showing you how we got from the caboose to the home that you see above, and finally to where we're going. Thank you, and God bless you.